Hey guys, in this section we're going to be actually creating or generating a new Ruby on Rails application or application framework. As I said in the previous tutorial, Ruby on Rails actually does all it gives you the entire structure of folders. So what we're going to do is we need to open the command line. I'm in Windows, and if you saw the last tutorial, the installation section, you should have installed Rails Installer, which is what it's called for Windows. So to get that, as long as you already installed it and followed along, you should go to your Start menu. I can't show you my Start menu because I'm on a different screen for the video, but you'd click Start menu and then Optimize Programs, and then you should find a folder called Rails Installer. Okay, let me just check it out and see exactly. So it would be a Rails installer, and then right under that it says Command Prompt with Ruby and Rails. You want to click that, and then that should get you to this screen right here. Alright, so we're in our C drive, and we're in the sites directory, which is directory that Ruby on Rails created when we did the installation. So if you go to My Computer and then C drive, go to Sites, and there's this sample app called To Do in there. I'm just going to delete that. We don't need that. And then we want to go to our command line, and we want to create a new app. So what we do for that is we just say Rails and then New and then the name of the app. We're going to be doing a project called My Ruby Blog. And what that is it's just going to be a blog application where we can add posts and categories and stuff like that. So and we'll be dabbling in this throughout the series, but chapter 7 is where we'll be doing most of the work on this actual project. So do Rails New and then My Ruby Blog. And it'll go through this process, and what it's doing is creating the entire structure for us. It's creating the MVC framework, the public folders, the scripts, the test environment. It gives us a lot. It really does, and this is why one of the best things about Ruby on Rails is that it does this for you. If you were going to program a custom framework, you would have to do all this on your own. So it should be done. It says your bundle is complete. Use bundle show and then the gem name to see where the bundled gem is installed. So we do have Ruby gems installed. It comes with the installer. Okay, so if we look over here in our sites directory, and you can use the command line as well. If we do ls, it'll list everything in our sites directory, which is just My Ruby Blog, and you can change to that. And then we can list, and we can see the structure of this actual application, and we can see it in the GUI as well. So we have, I'll just run down these real quick. The app folder is where we'll be doing most of our work. This is where the entire MVC framework is. You'll see we have views, models, controllers, assets, and we have a helpers folder for just smaller functions and methods that we could use in our structure. Alright, so that's where we'll be creating a controller and a view and then a model. And then config, we have a couple files here. The only one that we need to worry about right now, well, not even right now, but coming up, we're going to have to configure our database configuration, because by default we use an SQLite 3, but for our application we want to use MySQL, so this will just consist of editing this file. And the DB folder is for all our database migrations. We can actually create database tables and table info on the fly through Rails. And the document folder, libs, will contain all our libraries and tasks. Log will be, obviously, as the log will be log files. Public, this is where we'll be putting our CSS files, our global CSS files, and images, like images folder and stuff like that, stuff that's available to the public. Scripts, we put our scripts in there. Rails, the Rails script is already in there. Whenever you do a command in the terminal or the command line, it has to start with Rails in order to use Rails. And tests, we get a unit testing, all different kind of tests. We'll go through that in later sections. We have our temporary folder, and then vendors, which we're not going to worry about right now. And that's pretty much it as far as the structure of the app. We'll be creating stuff in the app and also the public directory mostly. So now what we need to do is we need to run the server so that we'll be able to access our app in the browser. Alright, so what you need to do is you need to go into the directory that you just created with your app, and all you need to do to run the server is type Rails S. Or you can do server, you can do it like this, or you can just do Rails S, and this should start the server. Alright, so it started. It said we have to press Control C if we want to shut it down. Alright, and the default location for us to visit this is on our local host on port 3000. So what you want to do is get your browser and go to just cap locks. You want to go to localhost or HTTP localhost. Chrome automatically puts that in, and then 3000. And you should get this this welcome aboard page, and this just lets you know that your app is now running on the server, and the server is running. Alright, so we have our app and server running, but we obviously don't want this as our home page for our application or for our website. So what we're going to do is create a view that it can default to for the home page. And you might not understand this fully, but in the next section, in the next chapter rather, we're going to be doing Ruby programming for just the actual language. So we'll have a break from the web app stuff, and then in chapter 3 we'll be talking about the MVC framework. So then you'll learn exactly what we're going to do right now. If you already know about Model View Controller, then you'll probably get what we're going to do here. Alright, so basically we need to create a controller, and we also need to create a view for that controller. And the controller is going to be called home, alright, because this is going to be our home page stuff. And the view is just going to be called index. So it's going to be index.html.erb, which I'll explain. So we need to go to the command line, but if you're where I am now and you have your server running, you can't actually use this instance of the command line, so you have to open a new one. So we're just going to keep that running. That's the server. So go back to your start menu and then go to Rails installer and then command prompt with Ruby and Rails, and you should get another command line, and this will be the one we'll work in. So Rails has an awesome generation engine. It just generates our controllers and views just with one line of code. We don't have to create any files or anything like that. So you just want to go back into the My Ruby blog directory. So just CD and then My Ruby blog. And from here we want to generate a controller and a view. So what we want to do is we want to do Rails, and we want to do generate controller, and we're going to say home, which is the controller, and then index, which will be the view. Alright, so just type that and then just press enter, and it does some magic and it creates those files, and it even tells us what to do to get it to be the home page. We got to go in the routes configuration file. So right now, let's go back to our site or our app in the file manager, Explorer, whatever you want to call this. And if we go into our app and then we go into controllers, this is the home controller that we just created. Now, as I said in the earlier sections, it's convention over configuration. So this naming convention is very it's mandatory. Your controllers must be the name of the controller, then underscore, and then controller. And that's just the convention you need to use if you're using Rails. So we see that our controller was created. Now if we go to views, it created a home. It created a folder called home for us with the index view inside. So this index view is what we're going to have for our home page. The home controller, the index view. Okay, just try to keep that in mind. And we can open our editor. For now I'm just going to use Notepad++, which is a great little program, great little editor. And this is all, let me delete these other tutorial stuff. Alright, so this is all that's in our index view. Remember, home controller index view, right here. And this is what we'll see. Right now I want to show you how to get rid of this, first of all. So you want to go back to the main folder, the My Ruby blog, and go to the public folder, which is in this index.html file. This is what we're seeing here. Alright, so we want to get rid of that. And you can get rid of it, you can delete it, or you can just rename it. I'm just going to put a 2 on there because it's looking for a file called index.html. And if we reload, we have a routing error, which we're going to fix right now. Because the reason for this error is that we don't have a home page. We want to make that view our home page. So now what we want to do is go to config and go to routes and just open that with whatever editor you're using. So we want to scroll down and go to we want to go right here, line 53. You'll see these hashtags, these are comments. If anything has this tag, this character in front of it, it's just taken as a comment. It's not there's no configuration going on or anything if it has that. So we just want to, all we need to do here is delete out this comment, okay? And it gives us the root, which is the home page, and we define the controller and the view. And by default, they have welcome as the controller. We called our controller home. So we're just going to write home, and then we want to use the index view, which is this file. So just do that, just uncomment it, and then just save it. Alright, so now we can get out of the routes file and go back to your browser and reload. So now you can see this is the actual index file, the home controller index view. Okay, so we can change anything here. Let's just say this is the home page and save that. I'm just going to do Control S to save. And if we reload, this is the home page. So now we have an app set up and we have an actual home page. So we can actually start building our app now.